Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Hamas says it's considering a latest proposal for a ceasefire with Israel that the U.S. and other mediators hope will avert an Israeli attack in Gaza's southern city of Rafah. Chances for the deal are entangled with the question of whether Israel can accept an end to the war without reaching its stated goal of destroying Hamas. The stakes in the ceasefire negotiations were made clear in a new United Nations report that says if the war in Gaza stops today, it will still take until 2040 to rebuild all the homes that have been destroyed by Israel's 7-month war there. It warns the damage to the economy will set back development for generations. Meanwhile, student protests against the war in Gaza continue. At UCLA, police fired flashbang grenades and arrested dozens of students at an encampment this morning. It comes a day after violent Zionists attacked the camp and beat some of the student protesters. The lack of police response at the time to protect the students has been widely condemned, including from California's governor. Students remain at the encampment and are refusing to leave. Pacifica's Gilberto Rodriguez was on the scene last night.
We're on top of the scaffolding by Powell Library. Directly across from us, we can see snipers inside the building adjacent to Royce Hall. Large lights, powerful lights by the protesters are magnifying law enforcement with snipers stationed in the windows directly above Gaza Solidarity Camp.
UCLA said on social media campus operations will be limited today and Friday, with all classes going remote. Snipers have also been reported at other student anti-war encampments across the U.S., including at the University of Indiana. Armed officers were also reported at the University of Ohio. In St. Louis, Missouri, at Washington University, police hospitalized a professor who was filming the protests. Videos show 4 police throw him to the ground, then an officer pressing his knee into the man's body, dragging his limp body away. Steve Tamari ended up with a broken rib and hand. New York Democrat Jamal Bowman blasted the police response to anti-war demonstrators at Columbia University, where an armored vehicle was used. He spoke on the House floor.
Are we in a police state, or is this a democracy?
The gentleman's time has expired.
We must stand with our young people and demand justice and freedom.
The gentleman's time has expired.
And everyone in this world.
Jamal Bowman. The House has passed legislation to broaden the definition of anti-Semitism that includes criticism of Israel. California Republican Tom McClintock spoke in favor of the measure on the House floor.
You cannot fight anti-Semitism if you cannot define it. And the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance offers us a clear and widely accepted definition rooted in this tragedy of the ages.
Jared Nadler of New York, a Jewish Democrat, spoke against the measure. He said the author of the International Holocaust Remembrance definition of anti-Semitism has since come out against it and warned the bill will impact free speech.
This bill will do nothing to help stamp out anti-Semitism on campuses or anywhere else, but it will threaten free speech.
The ACLU warns it will have a censoring impact on education. The resolution now goes to the Senate, where its fate is uncertain. Donald Trump faces the prospect of another sanctions in his criminal hush money trial as he returns to court today, followed by testimony from a lawyer who represented 2 women who've said they had sexual encounters with the former president. Prosecutors are seeking $1,000 fines for each of 4 comments by Trump they say violated a judge's gag order barring him from attacking witnesses. That would be in addition to a fine of $9,000 levied against Trump earlier this week. A new congressional report says the fossil fuel industry has waged a decades-long information campaign to deceive the public about the harms and dangers of greenhouse gas emissions. It was a topic of a Senate Banking Committee Wednesday. Christopher Martinez reports.
The title of the Senate Budget Committee's hearing was Denial, Disinformation, and Doublespeak, Big Oil's Evolving Efforts to Avoid Accountability for Climate Change. Jeffrey Supran, an expert in the history of climate denial and global warming politics at the University of Miami.
Big Oil is the new big tobacco. They always follow the same 4-step playbook. First, they learn about the dangers of their products. then they scheme, then they deny the science and scaremonger about the economy, and then they take action with propaganda.
Another witness, Ariel Cohen, is managing director of the Energy Growth and Security Program at the International Tax and Investment Center.
If it's not American molecules, it's not going to be oil, solar and wind. It's going to be Qatar and Russia.
Witness Sharon Eubanks was director of the Justice Department's tobacco litigation team in the landmark racketeering case against the tobacco industry.
The similarities between the conduct of the tobacco industry and the petroleum industry form a solid and appropriate basis for investigating the petroleum industry. Furthermore, we should not waste time in wringing our hands. We have documents that lay out what is currently happening.
She says the Justice Department could build a case against the fossil fuel industry just as it did against the tobacco industry. Reporting for Pacifica Radio News KPFA, I'm Christopher Martinez.
I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.